Is this thing on? Are we recording?
What year is it? Where am I?
Is this how we do a podcast?
What's a podcast?
Are we podcasting? Is this podcasting?
What are you talking about?
This is podcasting.
What are we talking about?
Whoa, we're back after
For
an
now.
absence that we said wouldn't happen.
Yeah, we lied to you.
Yeah, we enjoy lying.
Sorry.
Well, welcome back to Contingency Plan Podcast, an all-new
Hello,
podcast
everyone.
that you've never heard before.
Yeah.
Boy.
We are so behind on everything.
Oh, God, we are. Man, it's been... How long? How long has it been?
7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? God, we were on a
Sorry.
bit of a roll there and then just didn't do it anymore.
Did you record once while I was...
Nope.
No.
Nope. Sure didn't. Sure did not.
Not even a comic book power hour? Come on.
Dude, I actually haven't even been reading any of the comics anymore. I kind of just...
Oh, really?
Nope.
Not even the High Republic stuff?
I don't even know if the High Republic has any new stuff in comic form, to be honest. Oh, man. So, yeah, we've been out for a little while. Darth was finishing up school.
Yes, I've graduated.
Yeah, you graduated.
I mean, I graduated, but I still haven't heard back since last Wednesday on my grades.
Oh, boy.
But I'm pretty sure I graduated.
I'm pretty sure we had a party. So if you have a party...
And if I didn't graduate, I would have to give back all of the alcohol that I drank.
That's right.
And the money that I was given.
That's right. You have
So
to
hopefully I graduated.
you have to give back all those empanadas that you ate.
You know, I only got one.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I made close to 50 of those things, handmade empanadas. Dad probably ate at least 10 on his own.
Yeah, I believe that. One of my buddies bragged about eating like half of them, so that was great.
Yeah, they were good though. Everything was really good. Those skillet baked beans were nice, and the brisket was good, and. God, what else was there? There were other things that we ate. I even made another thing.
Did you eat any of the wings?
Yeah. I had
Okay.
a couple of the hot and then a couple of the not hot. Are you a drum or a flat guy?
Depends on if I want to dip it in sauce or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going for like blue cheese, I'm kind of more into flat because there's so much of the drum that you have to like awkwardly lick the blue cheese off of instead of eating the meat with it. But at the same time, I don't like messing with the wings themselves.
I like flats. I like flats way better than drums. But yeah,
Now, if they're cooked right, there's a couple of easy techniques to just break one of the joints and just slide the bone right off, and then it's not a big deal. But
yeah, no, I like to gently pick at it with my teeth.
yeah.
But no, yeah. So we had your graduation party. Got you a new piece of equipment as a gift, so that we'll next time we do this, or sometime down the road, we'll see how well it works. But plan is to actually have some video coming up. So that'll just be more of on the YouTube channel, which has some subscribers. Let me check. I'm actually kind of curious at how many subscribers that YouTube channel actually has, because we've been, however many years we've been doing this podcast, we've generally hosted through Podbean, and Podbean has an option that will post those episodes as audio episodes in video form for YouTube. We have 48 subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
You believe that?
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all, actually.
Seeing as how we put no effort into it or respond to anyone.
Yeah. Well, we just
Is our last comment still the one really angry dude?
Yeah, we've made fun of that guy for a couple years now. That's been content for days. But yeah, no. So we're gonna be doing some change ups. We had already sort of talked about it at the beginning of the year. That, not like it's gone stale or that we're bored with it, but I think for me, Star Wars has, it's went down some interesting roads, but how many more years do we want to just go and just do one thing? One thing. A contingency plan can be multiple things. And we've talked a lot about, maybe going over some other mediums, some other nerddoms and stuff, and kind of doing more of a bit of a variety, whatever's hot. I mean, my God, I've been doing this Star Trek podcast with my buddy Chase and Eric. These are the voyages for a couple of years now, and they are dropping constant shows. It's near constant. We haven't had a break in shows, like show reviews, in a while. So, there's a ton of new content and even old content we could go over. But as it sits, I mean, what would be the problem in doing a little bit of a change up? I don't see the problem.
I would even argue that it could potentially make our Star Wars content better if we rotate around and do some different things and kind of not necessarily take a break, but maybe have something to compare it to more. I mean, obviously we watch Star Wars quite a bit, but we watch a lot of other nerdy stuff, but we don't really correlate the two all that often, I would say. So I think that we could, potentially review it better if, say, at the same time we had been doing all this, we were also getting into House of Dragon, actually reviewing it, Rings of Power, maybe watching some old, like, Doctor Who or something. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot out there, and I would say that the hype surrounding Star Wars podcast has somewhat diminished over time. We really hit a heck of a peak in sort of growth in like 2019, 2020. But we've been chugging along for quite some time. Being very faithful to all the mediums, the books, comics, shows, movies. And obviously, like
Some
when you look
games.
at it, the show content has been the most popular stuff that we've done, right?
By far.
Books, there are definitely people out there who really enjoy the books. And I still wouldn't mind going over books here and there, but it might not just be a Star Wars book.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know about you, but I think that some of the most fun content we've recorded is probably the movies. And that probably doesn't get nearly as much, as many views as all of the show content does.
Yeah, the show content definitely does do a lot. And we're not into the whole clickbait thing. There are a lot of folks who just do the clickbait. Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired this week. Jon Favreau wants Kathleen Kennedy out. Dave Filoni secretly has murdered Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau and has declared himself the emperor of Disney. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that one.
oh, jeez. Well, there was actually an article that I had briefly just skimmed where it was essentially like, and not to like get too much into like Mando, because we do need to like start at the beginning effectively, which we will. But it's like, and you thought that they were trying to get away from the First Order. Well, because Dave's so integral into a lot of these shows and so forth. But
Yeah.
I'm just not into that clickbaity stuff. I understand that it gets a lot of quick views and rage comments and subscribers, based upon just nutsity. But it really,
Hey, when it's your main job and you have to put a lot of time and effort into it, to some extent, I understand it. it makes money
Yep.
and it's a job.
Yeah, but
We're just not at that level.
Well, not even just that, but I mean, this podcast was built more off of, me and you making sure we were talking every week and just, hanging out and doing a conversation about things that we mutually enjoy, which is more than just Star Wars. I know it's heresy, but it's also true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how many episodes could we do on just Bond film reviews and discussions?
Well, there's
debate on the best Bond.
Yeah, I mean, there's that sort of stuff, but there's also things like, like Stargate. Like Stargate has, SG-1 and Atlantis and all these shows that, SG-1 ran for a while. Like there's things we could do with that. There's Star Trek stuff we could talk about. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about just in general. And like you already mentioned, like, the Game of Thrones stuff, the Lord of the Rings stuff as well. There's a lot that ties a nerddom together, and you don't have to just like one thing. And most people don't like just one thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I've always enjoyed this, but at the same time, having one major obsession and then kind of just ignoring everything else, I don't feel like that's very well rounded.
No.
And while it's been fun, I think that I do think that taking a little breaks here and there. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm excited to get back into this since I've had this break because of school and to see the large amount of content that we have to choose from. We have new High Republic books out. We have multiple TV shows. We have a game coming out the end of next month. That's pretty exciting. So, I don't know about you. I'll be probably putting a little bit of time into replaying Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, and
it's kind of like when we first got into it,
right?
When there was just a ton of content, just the floodgates were opened around the time we started recording.
Yeah, and I mean there is so much that we need to go back over. We did not finish Andor. I think we still have 2 episodes of that left to talk about. Mm-hmm. Bad Batch has been running its course. Mando is in a couple of episodes already. So I
think Bad Batch just had their finale. Right?
Yeah, I think it did, and I haven't watched any of that. And
I haven't even watched Mando.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, there are a lot of super fans out there who will just obsess and obsess and obsess. And it's like, I think we have really good conversations and we are pretty knowledgeable on a lot of stuff. But, life does have a way of getting in the way. So, and obviously, like for this last break, it was just kind of you needing to finish up school. We've been very busy on the weekends and so forth. So it's like there really hasn't been a ton of time. But I think that one of the pitfalls that we kind of got into there for a while was there wasn't very much media coming out. And what was coming out was largely books, and the books weren't largely very good.
No, to be frank, they were probably the reason we were both okay with taking the break.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a burnout there, at least for me. But I enjoyed Andor. I'm sure Bad Batch is fine. I am current on Mando, and I think that it's a heck of a lot more interesting than some of the other shows. But, eventually we're going to find ourselves in the same pit because there won't be a continuous stream of shows. As much as they want them to be, things are getting canceled left and right, man.
Yeah.
There's no Rangers of the Republic. I would be hesitant to say that Acolytes will ever come to fruition.
Well, they've said nothing about it, so I'd be surprised if they've really done anything.
Yeah, and the fact
Ahsoka's the only one they seem to be pumping any money into, just like Andor before it.
But see, here's the thing about Ahsoka. I am almost a little worried that that's going to happen as well. And if it does, I feel like it's going to be limited, like a very limited run.
Well, and then it brings the question to the table, like, what is the reason for canceling? Because what else is in the works? I mean, we don't really have a lot going on right now, so are they just cutting back the budget of Star Wars at that point? Or are we reallocating our resources for a bigger project?
Well, it is kind of hard to tell. I would say that the Disney family does have some stuff to clean up. I think Marvel is starting to be on its like last gasps.
The death rattle.
Yeah, and you know,
And that's what I worry about. Watching that makes you wonder how bad Star Wars could get.
Well, the thing is like what could actually give you a little bit of hope is, so you know, your main movies. So this year we've got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which I'm sorry I didn't watch. I just haven't been interested in going to the movies.
Yeah, the last movie I watched was the Scarlet Witch movie, so I'm very behind.
Are you talking about the Doctor Strange one?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that one
Yeah.
at all. But so you have that movie, which fair enough. I don't know what the general sentiment is on that. I know that, you know, obviously the first Black Panther, everybody's pretty praiseworthy of the appearances and so forth. You lose the actor who plays Black Panther, and now it goes to his daughter. Sorry,
Is that who?
I
Okay.
don't. Oh God, spoilers. No, I don't. I don't know enough about the Black Panther mythos to really speak on that. But then, you know, like Ant-Man. So
Who cares about Ant-Man?
no offense, but I personally, I know a lot of people pump up Paul Rudd. I've never really been interested in Paul Rudd because he's like the same guy in every movie, kind of like Ryan Reynolds. It's like, it's not like he's terrible, but he's just always Paul Rudd.
Mm-hmm. He's never a character. He is the actor in a movie.
Yeah, he is indeed Paul Rudd.
Yes.
But I mean, I think that that's starting to kind of come to a conclusion at some point. I just don't think you have strong enough superheroes to carry that franchise. So what you could wind up doing is trying to set up a real big, you know, big budget, as always, preferably a great story Star Wars film. And even if it's a trilogy of something else, as long as you keep it kind of classic, that thing will be huge. Because here's the thing. Mm-hmm. People give Rise of Skywalker crap and The Last Jedi crap. They still paid out the wazoo to watch it. The only one that didn't get that treatment was Solo, but they released it at the stupidest time. It was a terrible time to release that movie. I don't remember what it was up against, but it was like Memorial Day weekend, if I remember correctly. And it was just a bad time. It was literal months after The Last Jedi. It was stupid. It was a stupid time to release it. Their release schedule, they were trying to be Marvel with Star Wars, and it's not the same fandom. It is and it
my goodness,
isn't.
even Marvel, I don't think they've even ever released things a month apart, have they?
But I don't know enough about that. But like, I'm just saying, like, it could be a prime time for the Star Wars side to really come up with a story that resonates with people. And, you know, not some, and no offense to the folks who really get down with it, and I don't mean it to be offensive in this, but not some virtue signaled movie that just tries to clobber you with some message. Just focus on the story. Get some great actors in there and do their thing. This is something we were kind of talking about on the Star Trek podcast. Right now is the finale of the Picard show. And I kind of said, it's like, you know, what's interesting, I haven't been interested in this particular show until this last season. And part of the reason why I'm interested is because you have this really kind of good supporting cast of people that is better than your main cast of Discovery, which is supposed to be like the new, the big flagship. This is what brought Star Trek back to the masses. And this supporting cast was better than a main cast. You got to worry about the casting on this stuff. And if we're ever going to do another movie, I think it has to be original. You don't tie it to Skywalkers. Maybe you involve some Force stuff, but maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Or if you really want to get wild about it, Old Republic.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it's idiot proof, but you don't have to think nearly as much about it. I mean, you have to be faithful to the timeline and everything, but you have a pre-made story. And I think the main thing they need to do is go into it not thinking that it's a platform for their ideals.
Yep.
That it is a business venture that could and absolutely will fail if they don't give it the respect that it's deserved. Because that's what Star Wars is. I mean, the amount of love and passion Lucas put into it. He dedicated his life to it, and I feel to some extent that people are using it now as just a I don't know, just a jumping off point to voice opinions, and that's never, I think, what Star Wars is really about. I think the initial message of Star Wars was really good. Friendship is extremely important. No one's ever really lost or gone, and I don't know. It was simple, and it worked. And it wasn't beating you over the head all the time with it.
Yeah, and I mean, the initial story of Star Wars was nothing more than the same archetype used in a lot of different fairy tales and so forth,
Absolutely.
Boy out in the middle of nowhere who just wants to do something big, save the princess with the scoundrel. Scoundrel and princess wind up together because that's unexpected. Well, not anymore, but it's
ironically, it was kind of a Disney story in a way.
Yeah, and that's when you break down storytelling, it all winds up being practically the same, and then you just have the big bad guy that you're supposed to have take down by the time you're done. But yeah, it was very simple. And I think even like the sequel trilogy wasn't overly complicated, but they just put in enough, to borrow Bert Kreischer's new Netflix title, too much razzle dazzle, which coincidentally, if you haven't watched, I'm not much of a Bert Kreischer guy. I personally think that if I were to meet him in real life, I might hate him. Like, really? he just gives off a vibe, because I've watched enough. He's on so much crap now. There's just times where it's like, you really do come off like a dick sometimes. And you know it, and you're cognizant of it, and you're not interested in changing it. But then other times it's like, you hear his dumb laugh, and you're just like, you're a good guy. But I'm not sure. But anyway, that special was particularly good. It was way better than most of them that I've seen lately, and that's saying something. Heck, even when me and you went and saw Bill Burr live, had a great time.
Yeah. That was awesome.
But you know what? The actual tape special for that whole set, I didn't like it. I thought it was terribly unfunny. But I remember hearing the same jokes when we were in the audience, and I thought it was hilarious. But when I watched the tape special for Netflix, I was like, dude, you had one off night. This was not good. It just wasn't funny. It was weird. But the Bert Kreischer one was
said to be actually a part of the crowd as well, especially when he's making fun of Ohio in general.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's obviously.
You get to be a part of it instead of that's anything live. And that's one thing that I was always really happy with the new trilogy. It's the first Star Wars movies I got to see in theater.
Yeah.
So it was. I'm always going to have a special place for this trilogy. Ups and downs, sure. But Force Awakens was awesome looking back at it.
I still think Force Awakens is a great movie. I just think that the direction that they went in was not cohesive and it wasn't very good. You know, you had a complete rogue of a second movie, and then you had to pick up the pieces third movie. You could tell that nothing was cohesive there. And if you tried to tell me that it was, I'd say you're full of crap.
What you had was it 3 different times someone planned a Star Wars movie.
Yep.
And 2 of those times they based it slightly off of the prior movie.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boiled down to. I would be interested to see the storyboarding and the full initial script, because I think that it would either be an incohesive mess or there'd be a lot of blank spots,
Right.
a lot. So, I don't know.
Yep, absolutely. But
3.5 out of 5 ain't bad. We'll give it 4 out of 5. Decent movies.
There you go.
So
anyway, how's your week been? It's about almost 30 minutes in. We're good. Good to ask, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Right. A new format, right? Gonna ask about our weeks right before we sign off from
This
now
new
on.
format seems a lot like their old format. Remember when we used to do like segments?
Page by page reviews of books.
Oh, God.
Or chapter by chapter.
We did.
I
Well,
should say.
the first book we did.
Going through page by page.
Yep. For Vector Prime, we did indeed do a chapter by chapter reread of that. And then we quickly realized that was not going to fly for very long.
Just think, if we had kept that schedule and only did those books, we'd still be doing those books.
We'd still be in the series. I actually don't even know where we are in that series. I'd have to go back and look and see where we left off. Because I wouldn't mind jumping back into one of those eventually either.
Yeah. I want to say we're on like book 7.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. I'm not sure.
That could make sense. Boy, oh boy, what a time. So I guess let's talk a little bit about maybe the future. So what does the future look like here for our super sick podcast that everybody listens to?
You know, I distinctly remember certain Jedi Masters saying not to look towards the future. It's ever-changing.
Wow. Seems like a cop-out.
Well, I don't want to be Sifo Dyas, okay? I'm sorry.
I mean, if we have to build a clone army, we have to build a clone army. It's fine.
I don't want one of my best friends murdering me.
I mean,
I don't want to be the smallest nod in any movie ever. Master Sifo Dyas. We'll never say that name again.
God. A bit crazy he was. Goodness.
It would have been great if just another person was like, yeah, he was kind of a dick. Yeah, screw that guy. I'm glad he died.
God. Yeah, I heard he went a little crazy. Boy, oh boy. But
I need to re-listen to that book.
oh,
That's a good book.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess
Future.
What's that?
The future.
The future, yeah. So I would say, just in brief, Star Wars content will still continue. We're still obviously going to be locked in to going through the shows for a little bit.
Yeah. Andor and Mando are absolutely happening.
Yeah,
Bad Batch is probably happening.
it'll
soon.
happen. Yeah, it'll happen in some form and fashion. And we still want to focus on literature as well. I think from time to time it's good to jump in and have a book. But we're also probably going to be running a few other things through the podcast. Name will remain the same. The image might change if I can ever figure that out. But realistically, we have a couple of things in the works, and the idea is to make sure that we have consistent uploads again and all that good sort of jazz. But if things come up, they come up. It is what it is. We'll try and be more consistent though.
Yeah. Back to weekly.
Yeah. We'll see.
Could just burn ourselves out and do like three recordings a week.
Screw that, man. I'm good. Yeah. I mean, we did. We used to have at least 2 a week. My short segment, and then our main segment, and then sometimes every now and again there'd be another one. But yeah,
you know what we need to do? We need to start back up the Patreon videos.
Oh boy, yeah.
There's where we do our James Bond content. We do all our movie reviews of James Bond in Patreon.
Patreon.com. Yes, we did kind of do stuff with that for a little while.
Our food reviews.
We did. We ate and we talked smack about different things. Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, if there's anybody out there in listener land, if you have things that you'd like to see on the podcast, or maybe you just want us to go away, I don't know. I mean, you could be mean like that. I have no flipping idea how mean people are.
If anyone wants that, they would voice that opinion on YouTube.
We'll totally listen to that. Goodness. All right, man. Was there anything else we wanted to chat about while we're here?
I think we're good. Just nice to get back to it.
Absolutely.
And I do apologize for life happening for all y'all. I appreciate everyone who's excited enough to get back to our channel.
Yep. And it does happen. I mean, life comes at you quick or fast, or you're in good hands with some insurance company or whatever it is. Yeah, buddy.
Allstate Farm.
Allstate. That it? Yeah, Allstate Farm. That's the one. So.
Yeah, the one with Gecko.
Oh, God, yeah. So anyway, more than likely when we come back, we'll probably finish up Andor, jump into Mando, probably do some Bad Batch, and then kind of continue on with some other stuff. I mean, I think some easy things to kind of do would be maybe to go back over House of the Dragon and maybe Lord of the Rings. We talked enough about it.
The Power Rings.
Yes, the rings. Yes.
The angry Galadriel.
Hey, she's a strong woman.
She's a very strong, angry woman.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the plan, sort of tentatively, loosely. And, hopefully if we can get everything figured out, there'll be some video on YouTube. And I'll have to buy a green screen finally so you don't see my background. All right.
Yeah, and throwing it out there, guys. Absolutely any ideas. We would love to hear them. This is just as much for you guys as us. So if anyone has an opinion on a certain show, maybe tip us off to something new. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, you know where to find us at TC Plan Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, or you can just send us a good old-fashioned email to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Suggestions for future shows would absolutely be welcome. Topics, comments that you might have, just go to those places. But I think that's about time for the sign-off, so y'all have a good rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.